So inside of your muscle tissue, if this is your muscle, your whole muscle, your muscle cells will run the length of the whole muscle. So they're going to be long. You can kind of think of them as like long tubes. So inside of this here, you're going to have multiple muscle cells running down from attachment point to attachment point. So if we cut this in half, if we were to take a splice of this bicep muscle and then take a look here at what's going on in one of these muscle cells, let's just shoot that over here and just pretend. So inside of the muscle are going to be bundles of cells. So if we just take one out, I'm going to draw this big circle and we're going to pretend that we took one out and then we sliced it in half. What you're going to find inside of there are little protein filaments, and those protein filaments are inside of the muscle cell, and then they run also along your whole entire muscle, and then there's going to be rows of them. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the protein filaments that are contractile filaments, are actin and myosin. And you also have protein that doesn't contract, more like filler protein. So let's pretend that these are inside of our muscles, this muscle cell here, and then we're going to remember that these run the whole length. So just keep imagining that. And then we'll fill in our myosin. And then again, those are running through your muscle cell as well. So kind of just keep that in your mind for a second. So inside of your muscle cell, you have rows of this actin and myosin. So this is running this direction, and inside you have the actin and you have the myosin, and when you get all the way down to the very, very smallest level, then you'll see one of your contractile muscle tissues is myosin, and it has little heads. And what it does is it grabs on to the other contractile tissue, actin. So when you are contracting your muscle, what is happening is your myosin is going to grab onto the actin. So right now, let's pretend that this picture here is my bicep here. So it's relaxed. The myosin hasn't grabbed onto the actin yet. But as I flex, then this actin actually gets pulled in this direction. And then this comes closer together. So instead of that relaxed state, it's now a contracted state. And then the muscles get shorter. So that's how your muscles get shorter. Your myosin attaches onto your actin, and then as you contract, it brings it together and you shorten that way. So the reason this is important is because depending on what your goal is going to depend on how many repetition ranges you do, how many sets you do, and then how much rest you do. So if you want to build strength, then you're not going to want to do more than 12 repetitions. Once you get past 12 repetitions of an exercise, let's say I'm doing push-ups or I'm doing chest press, once you can do more than 12 push-ups, you're really not training for strength anymore. That turns more into an endurance activity. So if you're trying to get bigger muscles and you're doing lots and lots of push-ups, that's not going to help you build more muscle because that doesn't stress the muscle as much as it needs to. So with that said though, if you are more of an endurance athlete, you do triathlons or you do any kind of 5Ks or anything like that, it would benefit you for your strength training to have your repetition ranges higher than 12. So maybe between 12 and at the max 20 repetitions would be good for an endurance person. And if you're a power athlete or if you're really into just true strength, you would want to do less than 8 repetitions. So as soon as you get higher than 8 repetitions, then you're going to start doing a combination of both strength and endurance. So what we like to say as strength and conditioning coaches is that it would be good if you're trying to get both strength and endurance to stick with 8 to 12 repetitions. So meaning if you picked shoulder press, for example, you would want to pick weights that were challenging enough so that you couldn't do more than 12 if you were wanting to do both strength and endurance. Okay. Another plus to keeping the repetition ranges between 8 and 12 is that you're going to build more muscle that way, and then you're also going to increase your overall resting metabolism, because the more muscle that you have, then the more you're going to burn fat all day long. So I want to address also that when you first start going to the gym, then you might notice that within the first 1 to 2 weeks that you have an increase in strength. And so a lot of people will think that they're already building muscle after just 1 or 2 weeks. But this whole process of increasing the protein filaments inside of your muscle cell, that actually takes 12 weeks or more. So I wanted to let you know what's going on that first 1 to 2 weeks. So your muscles, they need your nervous system to communicate. So your brain is going to send a signal to your muscles to contract. So if I have a lengthened muscle and I want to contract my muscle, I have to think that, and then I have to send the message to my bicep, and then my bicep will fire based off what my brain has told it to do. So when you get down to the cellular level for your nervous system, we're talking about a motor neuron. So a motor neuron is going to have dendrites, and I'm going to make mine look kind of like a flower because I like doing it that way. And those dendrites take in the information from outside, from your brain, and then they transmit that to the muscle cell. So it also has, comes down here, and then we're going to have attachment points that actually can attach onto your muscle tissue. So we'll just draw another muscle and pretend it's attaching on there. Okay? So what is happening the first 8 to 12 weeks, and then the first couple weeks, is that your motor neurons are becoming more and more effective at firing your muscles. So that strength that you gain within the first 1 to 2 weeks, again, is your nervous system, your brain, communicating with your nervous system cells, your motor neurons, to help fire those muscles with more strength and with more efficiency. So again, to recap, you build muscle by stressing the muscle. Your repetition ranges for both strength and endurance are 8 to 12 repetitions. And then your rest period, in order to regain the energy that you need to be able to do work, to do challenging work, some that you can only do 8 to 12 repetitions worth, you're going to need a rest period of at least 30 seconds and then up to 60 seconds. And then for your sets, you can start off with just one set, meaning if it was shoulder press again, for example, and you're going to do 8 to 12, you would do 8 to 12 repetitions, and then you would rest for 30 to 60 seconds. And if you're just starting out though, just one set is fine. You can just move on to your next exercise. But if it doesn't quite feel that challenging after that 60 seconds rest and you want to try it again, then go ahead and add a second set and then rest again 30 to 60 seconds. And then you could add a third set. More advanced lifters might go 4 sets, 5 sets, or beyond, but most of us are just fine with between 1 and 3 sets. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson on how to build muscle and strength. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.